Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only Hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Hosting Cruz, and the main event has concluded at the Caribe Royale in Orlando, Florida. It was a heavyweight fight, 10 rounds in the main event between ranked by the WBA at number 3 out of Havana, Cuba, Lenier Paro. Now, got a younger brother named, got the name right here, Daniel Pero, and also undefeated. And I've heard about these Cuban brothers just the other day, honestly. Saw a little documentary on them on Matchroom leading up to Lenier's fight tonight, and they got a big hype on them. Gold medals in the amateur games. Lenier competed in the 2016 Olympics. His younger brother tried to compete in the 2020 Olympics, but was unsuccessful in competing at the Olympics. But so far, they have had a successful boxing career in the professional ranks, climbing up the rankings to contender status on their way. They're not there yet in contender status, but they're underway. And the hype is there. They got potential to be maybe world champions. We don't know. Too early to tell. But there's potential there. You can see the skills. You can see the punching power between both brothers. Lenier displayed that tonight against his fight against Jordan Thompson, who it was a really good competitive fight, by the way. But before I get into the fight, I want to talk about the Paro brothers. I mean, the Paro brothers have that thing in them, like Luis King Kong Ortiz did back in Luis King Kong Ortiz's prime. A lot of fighters didn't want to fight King Kong because of hard punching southpaw heavyweight Cuban. Very crafty, good timing. That sounds dangerous. And the Paro brothers has that. Both brothers can punch. They're crafty. They got that Cuban style. Excellent IQ, counter punching skills. So they're a threat in the heavyweight division. I mean, they're still climbing up the rankings. As we just saw, Lenier Paro put on an excellent performance, competitive fight against Jordan Thompson, who ain't fought in 2 years, coming up from cruiserweight to heavyweight, and he looked pretty darn good for being out 2 years and first time at heavyweight. His body, he looked really good physically, and he fought really well. Had a lot of moments in the fight, close rounds. Paro landed a big left-hand shot that rocked Thompson in the 9th round. Thompson held on. He did what he had to do to survive that round to make sure he'd get out of it. But Lenier Paro won the fight by a unanimous decision, hard-fought unanimous decision. And that was my first time watching Paro fight Lenier, since I've heard about them just the other day. And I saw what the hype was about. I saw Lenier Paro displayed a nice jab to the stomach, big left hand shots to the body, excellent timing, counter punching skills, deadly left hand shot, punching power. At times when these two guys were in exchanges, when Lenier Paro and Jordan Thompson were in exchanges, you can see that when Jordan Thompson would be working on the inside, Lenier Paro is waiting to counter upstairs with his big left hand and right hook. He even landed a very good timing right hook on Thompson's chin. I think it was in the 3rd round. It was a bit early in the fight still, and Thompson and Paro landed a nice counter right hook, like the right hook counter shot that King Kong Ortiz landed on Deontay Wilder in their first fight. But anyway, so they got these Pero brothers are hyped. You know, they're saying that they're going to be the next Cuban heavyweight champions, the first Cuban heavyweight champions, because Luis King Ortiz um, was not able to accomplish that. You know, he was close, but he was not able to accomplish that. If he had, he would have been the first heavyweight world champion out of Cuba. And the Pero brothers are seems to me like they're next in line to try to accomplish that. So they're on their way, man. But first things first, they got to fight real competition, real solid competition. And Jordan Thompson was not a real heavyweight. He was coming up from cruiserweight. He ain't fought in 2 years. He looked darn good though, and he let his hands go, and he came to win. But um, he was not an elite fighter. He was not a top heavyweight. So Jarrell Big Baby Miller came into the ring, and Pedro called him out. Pedro been called him out prior to the fight. Been calling him out. So he went in there and he confronted Pedro, and both guys had a little conversation in the ring. Um, as you as you guys saw in the clip that I showed you, and it should be a tremendous fight. It's a big test for Pedro because Pedro, this was his first time, I think, going 10 rounds in a fight, and he kind of gassed out, but he, he was able to recover and pushed on and win the fight and finish strong. But Miller is a hard fight. Cause Miller is a big heavyweight, almost 300 pounds. If anything, 300 pounds. He comes forward, takes a good shot, good power. He tries to smother you, overwhelm you with his pressure and volume punching. So that's a hard fight. That's a hard fight for Pero. But those are the kind of fights and fighters that Pero needs to beat in order to live up to his hype of becoming world champion. And yeah, he's gotta win fights like that, man. Because if he doesn't, then the hype was just that. You know, he was overhyped, and he was not what the public and boxing experts say he is. So we'll see what happens. It seems to me it's an easy fight to make, based on Eddie Hearn saying that it's an easy fight to make, and Lenier Paro versus Jarrell Miller next year, early 2026, should be a tremendous heavyweight fight. Um, but Pero is in for a long ride. That's a hard fight. But if he can get past Miller, then man, he is on his way to contender status. Beating Miller, he will be content, in my opinion. Beating Miller will for me, that's enough to become a contender in the heavyweight division. And then after that, if all goes well, he beats Miller, um, and he gets one fight against a familiar name, then he is a contender to the heavyweight title. Um, so we'll see what happens, man. And Lenier Paro versus Jarrell Miller is two heavyweight fighters in the top 10. You got number 3 by the WBA in Lenier Paro, and you got number 6 in the WBA. So they're both ranked in the same organization. That's why they're fighting each other. That's why the fight makes sense. Jarrell Miller is ranked number 6. So you got two top 10 heavyweights in there. So yeah, let me know what you guys think, man, about Lenier Paro. How was his performance? And what you think about Lenier Paro versus Jarrell Big Baby Miller. Go down into the comment sections below, and let me know what you guys think. Miracle Boy Boxing. I'm your host, Ocean Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. It's always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.